Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We'll start our work session, and we have 31 items to review. Some of these are very important, so I have put them up toward the top. And the first item we'll discuss is the budget appropriation resolution for the year. Now, those of you who have been on the board, like most of us, for a while, know that we do this at the end of every budget year. And basically what that does, it realigns what we had appropriated with what we spent. It's a standard accounting practice. So I'll hand the floor over to Sharon, and she can speak to you about, you will see in your packet, the resolution is on top, and then the appropriations are behind it.
Okay, that's just, and we've got several where we're moving around money from one department to the other. Some didn't spend all their money, others spent more than their money.
Right.
So basically that's what it is. The first two sheets is the revenue that came in, and some of that went up, and most of it.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We'll start our work session, and we have 31 items to review. Some of these are very important, so I have put them up toward the top. And the first item we'll discuss is the budget appropriation resolution for the year. Now, those of you who have been on the board, like most of us, for a while, know that we do this at the end of every budget year. And basically what that does, it realigns what we had appropriated with what we spent. It's a standard accounting practice. So I'll hand the floor over to Sharon, and she can speak to you about, you will see in your packet, the resolution is on top, and then the appropriations are behind it.
Okay, that's just, and we've got several where we're moving around money from one department to the other. Some didn't spend all their money, others spent more than their money.
Right.
So basically that's what it is. The first two sheets is the revenue that came in, and some of that went up, and most of it, and some went down on what we're estimating. So I had to adjust it for the end of the year budget. But it's revenue on the first two, and it's got highlights the revenue for the general fund, water, sewer, the sanitation, and the police department. Then after that, that is all the departments. And like I said, some of them's credit from one place and debited to another department. And basically that's all those. And like I said, most of them are on the police department and the highway department that we had to move around.
And just to surmise, we are in good shape for this year, for 2022, 2023. As you look, and many of you are very familiar with our budget, there's many lines according to the way we appropriate and we predict our expenses. But overall, we are in the black for this year. There's no problems whatsoever. Like Sharon conveyed to you, what we predicted in one department might have been a little short, but another department was a little better. So all we're doing is good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We'll start our work session, and we have 31 items to review. Some of these are very important, so I have put them up toward the top. And the first item we'll discuss is the budget appropriation resolution for the year. Now, those of you who have been on the board, like most of us, for a while, know that we do this at the end of every budget year. And basically what that does, it realigns what we had appropriated with what we spent. It's a standard accounting practice. So I'll hand the floor over to Sharon, and she can speak to you about, you will see in your packet, the resolution is on top, and then the appropriations are behind it.
Okay, that's just, and we've got several where we're moving around money from one department to the other. Some didn't spend all their money, others spent more than their money.
Right.
So basically that's what it is. The first two sheets is the revenue that came in, and some of that went up, and most of it, and some went down on what we're estimating. So I had to adjust it for the end of the year budget. But it's revenue on the first two, and it's got highlights the revenue for the general fund, water sewer, the sanitation, and the police department. Then after that, that is all the departments. And like I said, some of them's credit from one place and debited to another department. And basically that's all those. And like I said, most of them are on the police department and the highway department that we had to move around.
And just to surmise, we are in good shape for this year, for 2022, 2023. As you look, and many of you are very familiar with our budget, there's many lines according to the way we appropriate and we predict our expenses. But overall, we are in the black for this year. There's no problems whatsoever. Like Sharon conveyed to you, what we predicted in one department might have been a little short, but another department was a little better. So all we're doing is adjusting the budget completely. And once we do that, hence you pass the resolution to do so, then we will be ready to present next year's budget. It's basically like cleaning the slate for the year, if you want to say that. And then that gives us a starting point for 2023 to 2024. And we've already been working, and we have a lot of progress on next year's budget to present to you. But this is a necessary item that we do every year to just kind of tighten up the books right at the end of the year. Anything else, Sharon, you want to share with us on that?
No, that's about it.
And I know you just got this, and obviously, it takes a long time to look at this. So please take it with you. And if you have any individual questions, just come to myself or Sharon. We'll be glad to answer what that means and why and whatever. It's standard accounting procedure every year. All right, we'll move on then. And you'll see in your packet, number 2 item is I hope I have it in the right order, is the home consortium resolution. And basically, every 3 years, all of the entities that belong to the home consortium, like we do as a board member, have to pass a resolution to either decide to stay on the home consortium or to leave it. And I would believe that it's our board's desire to stay on the home consortium. So I have drafted a resolution just saying that the board will give me the authority to sign the letter behind the resolution that basically says, yes, we wish to stay on the home consortium. And that's all it is. Any questions on that? Social media policy, as we've talked about it for a while.
Right.
This is draft ordinance 2023-003 that speaks to our standing, what would be, if you approve it, our standing social media policy. And I know you just got it, and I just got it. So, again, it basically, this actually is derived from the state. And Mr. Fry worked along with the MTAS legal team to develop this. And it's just a cut and dried policy that talks about social media and how it's managed in the town.
Okay. Mayor, could you kind of read over it
Yeah,
so everybody can hear it?
I intended to, if y'all wouldn't mind. Basically, it's saying what its purpose is, and it just says the goal of the use of social networking is to communicate and promote information about the business of the town and how we serve the citizens. The town must ensure that the use of social media networking maintains our identity, integrity, and reputation while minimizing actual and potential risk. The main goals of our social media communications are, basically it just says, provide communication, news, emergencies, road closures and construction, parks and recreation programs, job opportunities, government services, holiday closing, weather alerts, educational information, and for other matters of interest to the social media users. And we use the page like that now, you know what I'm saying? We advertise events. If we have a stoppage in traffic, we'll communicate that. If there is a water emergency, we will communicate that as soon as it happens through social media, because it's just a really good way to communicate with everybody. And that's all we're saying we're going to use the page for, is that. The platforms, and that means any social media platform, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, is basically saying all platforms, this policy will apply.
Oh, okay.
And even if they make a new one, it will still apply to that one, too. Basically, it talks about the policy components. My lawyer friend sitting here next to me, I see him peeking down through it. Basically, here's something very important: the content standards. And it says the town of Bluff City invites and encourages people to discuss issues affecting the town on its social media sites, which serve as limited public forums. However, the town of Bluff City will not allow posts to remain that include nudity, pornography, messages, or anything sexual, right? Language or information that is foul, vulgar, scurrilous, or say that last word, being scatological, which means foul. Promotion of the use of alcohol or tobacco, threats, attacks, harassment, unlawful discrimination or hate language, advocation of illegal or inappropriate use of firearms or drugs or any illegal activity, depictions or promotions of animal cruelty, promotion of endorsement of a political campaign or a candidate, programs and events not officially sponsored by the town of Bluff City or the town board, solicitations for donations except for official town-sponsored activities, exchange of goods and services, or a propaganda machine. So that pretty much outlines in 9-105 what we don't tolerate on the page. And then if you go back to the third page, it's just basically saying that everything that we put on there should be for public information. It said that public records law applies to our social media. It says that or that basically that policy established standards to ensure timely, accurate, and appropriate use of social media outlets by town employees who, here's key, who are authorized to post and manage content on the official Town of Bluff City social media pages. So I determine as town manager who can use it. Then managing content, basically you can look down there. It's basically saying there can only be one admin. There can't be several if you understand social media. There can only be one master admin and not several that can delegate. Right. It just says I'm responsible for the oversight, or me as an entity, the town manager. Basically, I'm the keeper of all passwords. I will approve the all social media sites, and I'll serve as administrator for each authorized town social media page. I'm the only one that can. I can't delegate it, or whomever is in my stead, the town manager. Says that town manager will monitor the post and follow these guidelines. And it says whenever, this is key, whenever any content is determined to meet criteria for deletion from a page, the content shall be retained and a record kept of the reason for the deletion. And we would make an official letter or something, and it will be kept in written form.
Right.
The reason we did that. Last page, and here another key. Unless the speech clearly falls into an unprotected category, the First Amendment challenges can be anticipated. The following measures are to be observed for all deleted content. Take a screenshot of the deleted message, document why the message was removed and the policy message was violated, save a copy of the documentation. So you just can't, go willy-nilly and just say, I don't like that, and take it off. It's got to be per our policy, and then it has to be saved for record and can re-review. So, Counselor, what do you see in that, since you've had a quick look at it? Anything that jumps out to you? I'll get you first.
No, I think it looks pretty good. I think, one thing that I noticed is that I don't think we need it limited only to these 11 things.
Okay. I'm taking notes.
How I would word that would not allow posts to remain that included but not limited to 1 through 11.
Right.
Because there could be something that falls outside of that.
That's true.
That would need to come off. And if it's not on there, we wouldn't be able
Where would you add that language here? And I'll put it in.
Just right here, I would say, will not allow posts to remain that include, comma, but not limited to.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Because I'm sure there will be somebody that will find a loophole and those something outside of those 11 and do it. And be like, you can't take that down.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Anything else jumps out to you?
The personal information part, are you talking about city and anybody that posts on there, or are we talking about Bluff City, like the town?
I thought it was all inclusive, man.
Okay.
The way I read it, it's all inclusive. It means PII.
Don't be doxing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
PII is PII. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether it be a city employee or a member of the public, it's PII.
Okay. That's really the only two things that kind of jumped out at me.
Okay. Vice Mayor, did you see anything?
If I can just get a little elementary here. As you've been a town manager, you will observe and
Right.
watch everything
Yeah.
and make sure everything is in
Right.
order.
Right.
And if a citizen has a problem or a complaint, you will let us know what's going on
Oh, sure.
at all times, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Good.
What this is naming me is the gate. This
Right.
the gatekeeper.
We need somebody to
The
do
real
that. Right.
time gatekeeper.
Right.
When you're not
Right.
looking at it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Well, as an entity,
Well,
the town manager
Right.
forever. You know what I'm
Per
saying?
se, babysit.
Right.
Watch it. Mhm.
Right.
Gotcha.
And that's the reason that we put the documentation
Right.
and record keeping in.
Right.
And then also we'll be a member of the, a piece of the archive. So if
Right.
we ever have to come back and say, hey, back in May of 2023, there was an issue.
Right.
It'll be in there.
And you can bring it up and you have it there.
Or
Sounds
whoever
good.
follows me, or
Okay.
whatever.
Sounds good.
Okay, Sandy, you see anything?
No?
Julie? All right. So if y'all are agreeable, I will make that change of language that Ben suggested in 9-105, and I will add after include, but not limited to. And do you see any other edits you'd like me to make? Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, we've talked about the home consortium. We've talked about that. Okay, let's move on then to item number 4, Cox disposal rates. I briefed y'all on this before. The letter is in your packet, like I previously shared with you. Those rates have already began. We pay our standard monthly contract fee to Cox for the trash disposal. We have 704 residential services in the town that are picked up weekly. In addition to that, Cox billed us for the over tonnage, and the surcharge. For the month of March, it was a little over $700 extra above the bill. And then for the month of April, it was about $750. Notwithstanding, we rented a commercial dumpster out at the city garage to do some cleaning up out there. And the rate of rental for that is $450, even for us.
A month?
Well, one-time use.
Oh, one.
And we got a lot of work out of it. Alan and his crew, we're trying to get the shop cleaned up out there. And they charged us over $300 extra for the overtonnage. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that this is not sustainable for us at our current rate. We can't pay it. We can pay it. Don't get the wrong idea. We'll pay the bill. But at the monthly service rate of $13.50 that we currently cover, next year we will not be able to pay the bills because the town pays part of that for the year. We cover it for the citizens. But this adds an additional minimum $10,000 or $12,000 a year to the contract. I'm just making you wise of this because when we sit down at budget, we're going to have to take a real hard look at our trash rates.
Right.
Because if we're going to count on an additional approximately $750 a month, we don't know if the surcharge is going to increase. Because basically what happened, last October it was a little over $5, and it jumped to $8, then it jumped to $10. And then, as you can see on the date of this letter, April 10th, Cox is stating it was $13.15 a ton plus a 6.5% wastewater treatment fee. So basically, that would increase the cost $14 a ton. So they are charging us that in addition to the contract that we pay now. So do the math. I mean, if it's approximately 70 tons a month, let's just shoot at that number. You do the math, about $800 a month.
I see what you're saying. I think we really had got to really sit down and do some deep figuring because we're making money. And we found out that, and since we've not got a city manager thus far, we've got money. And if we can somehow, because you can move it from, and if we could figure out some way so we don't have to tax the citizens, we're making money, and and then we want to raise something.
Yeah.
I mean, if we needed to raise, so be it. But since we are making some money and saving some money, let's help the citizens some. And I think we need to sit down and really go through this budget because, you're doing a great job thus far. You keep us informed. I have no complaints, and I don't think any of the board members have any complaints. And, and we're pleased, and we do want to move forward with a city manager. And that's something else I want to talk about a little later.
Yeah.
But until we find one, and then if you don't mind doing this, and I know, you can't do it for nothing because I see you working, and I know you work hard. I don't want to hear it. I know you work hard because I've seen you. But we're saying, I'm sorry.
Please.
What did you say?
Okay.
See, I'm only speaking on what I see.
Yeah.
What I see, and I see that.
Yeah.
If I didn't think you did anything, I'd say it.
All I was doing, please, all I was doing here was just giving, before
Just
we
kinda
get
letting us
in the
know.
budget, I'm just telling you, this is going to be a hot one for us because in regard to what you're saying, the revenues right now, and I want to commend Sharon. She appropriated within $100. Now this is over $100,000 a year. Her number was within $100. We're that tight, but this is more than we expected. That's all, and then we'll get into budget.
Okay.
We'll
We can
in.
dig into
You know
it.
what I'm saying? I'm just giving you the heads up.
That might be a good explanation as to why their bid was significantly lower than the other disposal company, was because they were already factoring this in.
True, and also, just when I met with Roger and Sheila Cox, they've been eating this for a while, and it's just come to a place with them, and they've been with us for 26 years. They've just come to a place with their business where it was intolerable. They just had to come and say, look, we're going to have a little more money. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we'll think about that, just like every other
Everything's
thing we're
going
gonna
up.
look at.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like blindsiding.
Right.
y'all.
Thank you.
And when we sit down in the budget hearings, I don't want you to say, well, why didn't you tell me that? I'm telling you now.
We'll figure out the best way to
In
do
the
it.
past, when the garbage, it was time to renew, as I remember it, I think it was 3 years ago, it went up like $2.
Uh-huh.
The city paid $1, and the citizens paid an extra $1.
Mm-hmm. It's been done like that before.
Oh, I know it has, because
at this
now,
point,
and it's been continuing like that. I think last year
Yeah.
y'all added $2, and we added $1.50 for. I'm not sure the exact.
Yeah, it went
number.
up last year.
So you're saying
Yeah.
we're really going to make a big jump this year?
I'm not saying it's your decision. It's the board's
Well, we
decision.
have to have our garbage picked up.
But I'm only apprising you
Right.
that we are putting out a lot more money than we predicted we were going to.
Oh, I understand
That's
that.
all.
I mean, everybody is in our country.
And that goes across the board. At water and sewer, it costs more for supplies to run the water treatment plant. I mean, it's everything. It's this economy. I want to be
Okay.
clear and
Right.
transparent with the board. Sharon and I have already paid the invoices that Cox, has sent to stay in good standing. But as we look into 23 and 24, I'm not even sure there won't be. We need to lock something in, is what I'm saying. Now, we were already, if you remember, in the previous agreement that we all agreed to, and my predecessor signed a contract for. We were going to go from $13.50 to $14.50 this year anyway. That was the agreement already. You see what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I
But
said,
what I'm
"Oh."
saying is that,
That's not gonna-
unfortunately, 1450 will not cover this. Now, I will also add that the county rate for this same service is $24 a month. So we offer a very low cost to our citizens now. You know what I'm saying? Just to think about, okay? I don't want to surprise you. I don't want to blindside you.
Well, that's what I'm
And when
saying.
we're-
People are used to it just going up a dollar. You know,
Right.
if it goes up 3, you all pay half, and the citizens go half.
Right.
And
But
if
we-
it jumps up a lot,
We are already paying a significant
I-
amount of money
and I
from the
get-
city that
I get
the
that.
citizens are not.
and as you know, as they're talking on the news every day, you know, Social Security checks. I say 50% of people that live in this town live on their Social Security checks,
Right.
and now they might not even come out next week, you know, and it's just going to be one big mess.
Oh, yeah. And we need to do what we can do. And, you know, another thing I'll add, Julie, is that this administration is looking to cut costs, and we have cut costs.
Well, I'm not saying
And
that.
we
but I'm just-
find opportunities. We found, and I've got that later on down through here. It's not a lot of money, but it's an opportunity.
Right.
We were renting a storage building out here. We don't need it. We don't need it. We're eliminating it. We don't need the storage building. I'm talking about down here at Three Arrows.
Okay.
We were paying a fee
Right.
to have a storage building down there that's basically got a few old records in it and some junk. And we found that opportunity. It's like $800 a year, but it's $800.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we eliminate it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anything we can find that is unnecessary to the administration,
Right.
we get rid of it. You remember, we did it with Centos. We did it with Verizon. We did all kinds. So we are trying to cut
Yeah.
costs.
And let me also say, too, is a
Yeah.
great savings what you did about the air conditioning.
Yep.
Because that was going to cost up in the thousands, and we
Yes.
got it done for how much? $80? $280,
I think.
and it was going to be
$16,000.
$16,000. People don't know that, so that was a
Yeah.
great savings right there.
But all I'm trying to do when I give y'all this is get you to thinking before we sit down at the budget table. Because Sharon and I want to get you a comprehensive product. They budget that's realistic. We do have some grant matches coming up this year with the water treatment plant. We're going to have to match. We're going to, and we've all agreed, we need to renovate the town hall, put a roof on it, do some different things. We're starting to see a lot of damage. We have to do it. It's 20 years old. So I just want to get you thinking about budget now. You know what I'm saying? So let me move on now. There's a piece right here. Here's another FYI. Personal property taxes. Now this document right here was derived from the state, and it was sent to me from the county property assessor's office. And this is an FYI. Now notice the assessment. And Ben looks at these all the time, so he's familiar with them. Notice the assessment and equalized assessment are two different numbers. One is $5,702,043, and then the equalized is $518,243. Now, without getting all complicated in this and that, in looking at this document, the state, in accordance with the home values when the assessment was made, according to the home values today, which Bluff City's median home value this very day is $280,000. When this assessment was made, it was $155,800. Hence, and the county's been told the same thing, they undertaxed $5.2 million. If you look at this, we basically are undertaxing about $140,000 or so. Something we're going to have to think about, because with the way the median home prices are now, They are not like they were when this tax assessment was drafted. And so when we look at our property tax rate, we're going to have to take a very close look at it. And this is just for your information, because during budget time, we're going to have to sit down and really look and see if our figure is the right figure. Also, this, and Ben will tell you, because he works on stuff like this all the time, this is viewed by the state. They have eyes on this, and that's how come these reports are pushed down. So just be ready for us to look, and we'll do all the math for you. I mean, it'll all be done, but we'll be looking hard at our property tax rate.
And keep in mind, too, if there was a tax increase, and if you've got an escrow account, your house payment's going to go up. That happens with an escrow. Mm-hmm. So, bear that in mind.
Right.
Mine fluctuates a little bit from year to year.
Well, we need to think about that too, because you're correct, because my friend in Florida, just recently, her payment was $300 a month. Now it's $750.
It goes up
because
because
of the
they have
tax.
to have a certain amount in escrow.
And she, that's what I'm just saying. I mean, I understand this because I know this came out way before, they, for some, whatever reason, made our property so much more expensive.
2020 and 2021 did not do us any favors in this area, because what we had a lot of, and what's driven a lot of these prices up, is a lot of people who had rental properties, and most of those they inherited their parents' house, and then they started renting them. And then when the CDC came out and said, "Oh, you can't evict people for not paying rent," they're like, "That's it, I'm out." So we had all kinds of people. I went from, most closings are done by banks. Like if you get it financed, banks do it. They have their team of lawyers that do that. I will do closings when it's a cash sale. I usually do like 1 or 2 a year. In 2020, I think I had somewhere in the neighborhood about 25, and in 2021, I did almost 40. And it was people from Michigan, Texas, California, who were literally buying things. They wouldn't even look at the property. They would see a property, say, "Oh, they want $200,000. I'll give them $450,000." And everything. I mean, like it was just insane. So a lot of the going from 150 to almost 300,000. That's how it got there.
Yeah.
And that's what's inflated a lot of these values. And you're probably right now or a year from now, you're not going to be able to get that. But you're going to have to wait for that to catch back up and come back down.
Low, right.
So it's one of those things that it's going to fluctuate, and that's something that we can revisit from year to year. Like if property values are close to $300,000 per home in our town, we got to tax at that. But if it drops to $220 the following year, then we can adjust.
It needs
back.
to be a variable rate.
Right. It needs to just match.
It needs to be a variable
what's
rate.
going on. Yeah. So I don't want to pay any more taxes than the next guy.
No.
But as you said, we will dig into the budget and see what we can do.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, we're just looking at a big algebra problem.
That's all we're doing.
Right.
That's it. So I just wanted to give you all that.
Right.
FYI. Okay, so
Thank you.
next one, hotel motel tax position. Some of you may know that the county did decide to levy a hotel and motel tax on the town of Bluff City of 4%. I stood in opposition of it. We do not currently levy a tax on hotels, motels, campgrounds, or short-term rentals. There's not one on the books. It was struck in 2012 by Ordinance 2012-003. I went personally. I would not ever represent you as a board without your permission, but I personally was opposed to it, and I'll tell you why. We don't levy a tax. We are at a disadvantage to Kingsport and Bristol because they have vibrant tourism, well-funded programs, and we do not.
Right.
We're little, right? I wanted us to keep an advantage for future hotel, motel, short-term rentals, and be the lowest dog, basically, where occupants would want to come to Bluff City first because they'd be tax less, right? I offered several arguments on why this should not occur. So here's the thing about them levying the tax. It is going to be very difficult to collect. We don't have a hotel or a motel, right? We do have 2 campgrounds. We do have some short-term rentals and Airbnbs, but very few, right? And the county, no disrespect to the county, they didn't have a plan that satisfied me personally prior to the taxation. I really wish that they had put together a plan and brought the municipalities together and sat down and come up with a plan. They say to use this money for tourism, right? To grow tourism in Sullivan County. But at this point, the way the resolution passed is that money would go into the general fund of the county, and then the budget committee would decide where it is spent. There was no steering committee of the municipalities, tourism professionals, and a mix of county commissioners to sit down and say, okay, we've got $1 million here. So let's spend $200,000 on just Bluff City and $200 on Kingsport, hence no plan. So I did stand in opposition for it, but they did vote to do it. We now are still at an advantage because Kingsport City already levied a tax of 7% in occupancy. The county just added 1%, so that makes them at 8%. The city of Bristol was at 5%, respectively. That county added 3%, so now they're at 8%. Now, Bluff City has 0 as a municipal tax, but the county has levied 4%. So if a hotel goes up on 19E tomorrow, the only dog that's taxing that hotel is the county. We are not. So it gives us a couple of opportunities. One, we can watch it go and be the lowest dog in town and keep that occupancy rate overall at 4%. Or at some point in time, if we wish, we could levy our own tax above the county and come up to the sister cities at 8%. The advantages of not levying the tax are that the occupants that come here to Bluff City, or the folks in short-term rental, or the campers under 30 days pay less, right?
So
But that's the only advantage.
Yeah.
The advantage to levying our own tax is that the money comes here, doesn't go through the county, doesn't get decapitated, there's no 5% off the top, and we decide
We
where
have
it's spent.
control over our own.
We have complete control over our own money. What I asked the county commission to do in a statement was exempt us from the resolution. They did not do that. So I was.
You're saying you're going to have to impose it anyway?
No.
Well, the county imposes.
The county did it. We decided if we don't want to, if we want to, if we want to put 1%, but we can't go over 8%. So we potentially have 4% that are our will and pleasure we could levy.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? You can't. The state says no more than 8%. Right. So at this point we're 0. But the county is levied 4%. But again, here's another thing to think about. Out at Lakeview and over here at Jimmy and George Ann Pratt's campground next to our property, most of the occupants are permanent residents because you are classified as a permanent resident according to this resolution. If you get into it, if you stay over 30 days,
Yeah.
right?
Is it consecutive or just
Yeah,
calendar year?
consecutive. So if you go down here, there's people down in Jimmy Pratt's campground been there for 5 years. They live there. You know what I'm saying? Same thing over here in Lakeview. These folks some of these folks now, there's a lot of race folks and this and that come in, but there's a scad of people that are permanent residents of that campground. They're never going to move.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're fully hooked up. So
they're not
going to be
taxed.
They're not going to be taxed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Only the short term is going to be taxed under 30 days.
And I'm sure this is a move that's being done by the county and with expectations of what the casino is going to be drawing in. Because we're going to have a bump in.
Yeah. Well, the county, I talked to 5 commissioners, and I had 3 here at my office with long conversations about this. And the county's expectation is that there is an approximate number from the 3 municipalities and the unincorporated limits of the county of about $1 million a year, right? Because there would be, you got to think, Kingsport, Meadowview, then they have all kinds of hotels. Bristol, same thing, and they're building hotels. Man, they're building some fast. I mean, they're looking for property to build hotels, right? So they estimated a chunk from Kingsport and a chunk from Bristol, big chunk,
Right.
right, of money, but it all being total around $1 million. So they sold this resolution, if you want to say that, is it changed like 5 times. First, it was like, okay, let me back up. The first reading of the resolution did not include Bluff City. It only included Bristol, Kingsport, and the unincorporated limits of Sullivan County, which we're incorporated.
Yeah.
So we were out,
Right.
which was kind of good. But then they came back in and amended it. They amended that thing like 11 times. And they finally put us in there, right? So I stood in opposition. All I asked was, I thought, to me, Jeff Broyles, personally, that it would be better for us to just be dropped out of that effort because I did not believe, I still don't believe, that the funds collected they would be used and distributed fairly for Bluff City. It's just like your customer.
Yeah.
The customer that spends the most money
Right.
gets most
Most
of
of
your
it.
attention, right? And our draw will be small.
Right.
It will. So they did it anyway, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's okay. They're
Even
going,
though we say no, they still
we
do
can't
it.
change
We
their
can't
mind.
change it.
All I can do is stand in opposition
Right.
of it, and I did. And my colleague Lee Powers from the city of Bristol did the same thing. The Ramona, I forget her last name, the general manager of the Meadowview, did the same thing, and she said it would hurt her employees and several business owners. Rogers Gardens, Brian Rogers from Rogers Gardens, they do camping up there across. He stood in opposition of it, and there was a lot of conversation about it, but they ended up passing it.
So you're saying Sullivan County's going to tax,
Sullivan County, we have nothing in it.
but
Zero.
we're not going to tax.
We have no
the
tax.
city's not going to tax.
We have no tax levy on the books right now for a hotel motel tax.
What about the campgrounds?
We don't. Zero. They pay the owners pay property tax. That's it. We're not collecting. All Jimmy and Georgianne Pratt and Kaiser and them out at Lakeview, they pay property tax for the value of their property. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So we need to be thinking about that. And we need to talk about it during budget time because now the only thing I'll add to that is that those taxes are very difficult to collect because how you going to know who's got an Airbnb? There's some out there right now in town. There's some. In the ordinary limits, there's 2 or 3, I think. But what are you going to do? The county said, I'm not being disrespectful, please. They was going to look at Verbo. Well, if y'all use Verbo at all, anybody, I used it because I'm getting ready to go to the beach next week. I use Verbo and I got my beach house. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the other. They said they're going to go on Verbo. Well, if you don't register on Verbo, then nobody ever will see you.
There's
Yeah,
a multitude of
right.
apps
You know what I'm
can
saying?
use.
Right. So anyway,
They don't even know what they're doing.
they don't have a plan, honestly. And I did the best I could, but it didn't work. So I don't. Again, and I told Mayor Venable and several county commissioners, I said, you're going to play Hades collecting that tax, because you can say you have a tax, but going out there and actually getting the money is a different thing, right? So enough about that. We just need to think about that. If, at this point, we're the county's getting 4 and we're not levying any, so we're kind of at an advantage. But the only problem is we don't have a budget for tourism here. We don't have a line in the budget that we go out here and we advertise Bluff City and try to get people to come here. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Item 7, Building Codes Inspector. Josh Carter's on board. He and I have been out in the town riding around and assessing the condition of property. I'll say that. We have found some things out there that are not commensurate with the way that folks, I guess, most folks, let me back up. Most folks here in Bluff City take good care of their homes. They mow their yard. They don't have junk piled up everywhere. They don't have 15 cars that don't run. They don't, this, that, and the other. Most folks. But we do have some folks out there that aren't doing the right thing. So what the policy I'd like to enact is that we do, when we find these things, we do it very gently. We go and we talk to the resident. We don't throw letters at them from the mayor. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we've got 2 or 3 cases out there right now that I'm working where there's problems. And I go out, or Josh and I go out, and we sit down. We make a time convenient to the resident, and we say, okay, now, this, for example, this building needs to be moved. And we work with the citizen. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't like throwing impersonal letters at people, and I don't like. We're going to enforce the ordinance because that's our duty. That's our duty. That's my duty. Y'all have given me that duty. We have that duty. Mm-hmm. But I just want you to know that but there's no Gestapo involved here. We're not using uniformed police officers. That scares people.
Yeah.
When you come, okay, let's just say you've got a problem, right? And we see it. And we send a guy with a tactical vest and a badge and a gun over to your house. And he's got a citation in his hand. Well, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is call, hey, Miss Smith, this is Mayor Broyles. May I come out and see you about something? And that's the way we're handling it. Now, Josh is going to do building stuff, you know what I'm saying, which is great. Mm-hmm. That's good. And he's going to be really good at it. But I just want to tell y'all that is our technique. It's not, and, we've got the Explorer out back that, it belongs to the town. Mm-hmm. We're going to put some signs on it that says Building and Codes Inspector and let that vehicle be used. Mm-hmm. And it will be floating around town. Mm-hmm. But it won't be on patrol. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it may stop in, like, for example, swimming pools. The swimming pools, a 48-inch fence must be around the swimming pool with a latchable gate, right? Mm-hmm. It's for safety. But you don't just roll up there and throw paper at somebody and say, you don't have a fence around your pool. You go and say, hey, look, according to our ordinance, and the ICC, which is the international code, you got to get a fence around your pool. You know what I'm saying? How quickly can you do that? That's the way we're going about it.
That's good. Not only that, whoever's doing that got to make sure they be careful too, because it's dangerous out there
It
this
is.
day and time. It's really scary.
Well, the blue team's always there for us, but I want somebody in a nice polo shirt and a pair of khakis with no gun.
Right. And nobody
No
trying
shiny
to throw
badge.
authority around.
Right. And work, and Josh will come back and he'll tell me about something, and I'll say, okay, let me get their contact information and let's talk to them. So
Good.
that's the way we're doing that
Right.
right now.
So that gentleman's going to be driving that SUV that was parked
The
out there.
Explorer, yeah,
The only reason I'm asking
Yeah.
is several years ago there was a man going around and he was trying to scam people.
yeah, right.
Remember that? And that's
do.
why I want to know, in case my neighbors,
And
like he pulls up, and
that-
I don't want them to be scared.
That's the reason I'm briefing you now, because it ain't went nowhere yet. It's
Yeah,
back
but I'm
there.
just saying, I know we
We have signage on it.
and-
We've got it
It's
started,
official.
and
Oh,
we're
okay,
going to
good.
get it cleaned up and pump the tires up. It's a good vehicle.
Because
Oh,
nowadays
good.
you
And
gotta
I
be careful.
ordered signs for the sides of it that says Building Codes Inspector, Bluff City, Tennessee. It's got a seal, got our seal on it. I ordered them today, matter of
Okay.
fact. So, and like I say, he's not going to be in a tactical vest and a gun. No offense. These guys got plenty to do. Plenty to do besides go out and say you need a fence around your swimming pool. You know what I'm saying? And then once it's deployed, you'll know that that's what Josh is driving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I just want to know because of what happened years ago.
Yeah. And it'll be an official vehicle. He's got a city phone.
Oh, good.
You know what I'm saying? He's not using his personal phone. I issued him a city phone. And everything will be documented, and he's going through his training for international code compliance 2018. We're getting ready to upgrade around here from 2012 to 2018. That'll go through planning and zoning, and then it'll come to us for final approval. We're getting ready to upgrade the code where it should be, and he'll be certified, and he'll be able to inspect mechanical, plumbing, and building. And then he'll be a certified state codes inspector, too, when it's all done. He's got a year to do his training.
Yeah.
And we've already hooked up with the state, and everything is copacetic, and, this and that. But if you see that out, that's what's happening.
Okay.
But it is controlled by me. It's not, there's no lone gun out here running around. He reports to me
Okay.
every day. He brings me a summary. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not pleased, then we'll do something else.
Right.
Okay, honor flight mission, I just wanted to say it was a great success. We had over 100 folks here, and we honored 20 veterans, one from the Korean War and 19 from the Vietnam War. It was great. Dinah Harshberger was here. The veterans had a wonderful time. The folks that came, families had a wonderful time, so that was a good event. This Saturday from 10 to 2 is Child Safety Checkpoint. And it'll happen right out here in front of Town Hall. Police department's running it. We have a plethora of child seats, both the good car seats and booster seats to give away free.
Oh, okay.
So tell your constituents if you have any
Okay.
that are interested. Well, also, if you already have car seats and you want to come in, we'll inspect them. Well, they will. I'll be here, but they will. They're certified.
Okay.
And they'll make sure they're put in right and give you tips on how to use them. And that'll run from 10 to 2 on Saturday. And then we're also, I think we're going to have, some water and refreshments. And
And
different.
that's this coming Saturday,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
What is the date?
Today is
No,
Tuesday.
the date for Saturday. What is it? The 20th?
27. Yeah. Patriot Day is coming up. Now, I want to explain this because, Julie, I heard you'd come in and you had some questions about Patriot Day.
I didn't know we came up with a name for it.
It's not us, is what I'm trying to say. Here, the deal on this Patriot Day is the family committee, not us.
Oh, we're not doing it. Okay.
They've rented Wells Park for the day. That's their event.
Oh.
They're calling it that. The only piece we have in this whole thing, which we've already talked about and agreed on, is that we'll have about an hour to talk about the organization of the town, and we'll make a proclamation for the day, right? And we'll have the OBTA guys there and the OBTA and the DAV guys there and we'll just use the stage there at Wells Park for about an hour. That's the only town. The town's not buying stuff. We're not doing any of the stuff whatsoever. That group has the whole park rented for the whole day. Now, the only thing I would ask if we could do from the board is I would like for us to sponsor the fishing contest. And we can do that working with TWRA. And it would be up in the afternoon, and we would run that little piece over on the boardwalk. But beside the rest of that stuff is the family committee. We don't have nothing in it. You see what I'm saying?
So it's their baby. It's not us.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's it. All I would ask, like I say, the organization, because July 1st, 1887 is the day we were named Bluff City. Mm-hmm. And then July 1st, 1901, we became incorporated. I intend to get up there and, issue a proclamation for the day. It'll be the first time we've ever done it. And put a little something together for us here, the elected officials at the town, just so folks know about the holiday. But in regard to food trucks, vendors, that's none of us. We're not doing that. We will have the streets blocked off, and Greg and Jamie and the police department and the reserves will help them out, block off streets, and this, and that, and the other, because we should. Let me think of what else we're going to do. We're going to take our Heritage Day stage down there and set it up. Public Works will do that on Friday. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So don't think I made all this big plan or anything without your approval. I didn't.
Well, I was asking
Yeah.
which committee was doing it because it's a little bit confusing. You Bluff City Family Committee, and then we got BluffCityFamilyCommittee.org.
That's their own thing, Judy.
That's all I'm saying,
Yeah.
though. It wasn't just me. And actually, what I come for, and Sharon can vouch for me, I asked her, about the money that we give to the nonprofits.
Yeah.
Who do we actually give it to? People was asking, and
It's in the budget if you pull it off the website, or if you've got a copy of the budget. It says every one of them we give it to.
see, that's
And how
what
much?
I come in here for.
Yeah.
But since you brought my name up, I am curious about the honor flight. I'm thrilled to death we were able to send the vets there. But how did that come up so fast? And who purchased that?
We didn't purchase anything.
I know, but how did it? A lot of people ask me, how come I didn't spread it around? I said, well, I didn't know that far in advance.
We
I said,
did
it was
talk
on the
about
slide.
it here.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about it. And last I remember, it was said it would be about a couple of years before we could afford it.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know how they're doing it this fast.
I'm proud to say it didn't cost anything. The only
Well, like
thing,
I said, it doesn't.
the honor flight
I'm not
folks
against
used
it. I wasn't
this
against it.
facility.
Thrilled to death to see the
Right.
little men, happy and smiling.
And we let them park here over the weekend. That was it, about 15, 20 cars, right? And then Diana Harshbarger was here, and she gave a little speech, and we sent them off. And then on Sunday, they came back, and I met them at the Veterans Memorial, and I got on the bus with them, and I gave them a briefing, and we come down here, and then and the Honor Flight people did everything. They bought they bought snacks and water and all that kind of stuff, but the town didn't spend anything. It was just we allowed them to use our town.
Well, that's great. And like I said,
And I did make a speech because they asked me to at both events, and that was it.
I think more or less, you wanting to know what's going on, and
well, we had a list like this,
Yeah,
and it was way down there, and it said within 2 years or so we could do it. And then that's what I'm telling my neighbors, and then they see it, and then they got mad at me because I didn't tell them earlier, and I said, well, I didn't know earlier.
Well, maybe we can kind of better inform. But the great thing about
but
it
it
is
was
we've
on
got
the
a lot of
side.
good things going on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
things.
Julia, if I have failed to inform you well enough, it's
No, you didn't me. It's just, some people.
and we put it on the sign.
That's what I
and
told
we-
myself. It was on the sign. You go
Yeah.
past City Hall, you would.
We had Channel 11 here too.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen that on there.
But anyway, I'm sorry if it wasn't exactly put out there good enough. But
Well, no, that wasn't
all
your
in
fault.
all,
It's
it
just
was
that-
a good event for the 20 veterans.
That's great.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say
And we didn't
this.
spend any money.
I would say this. I got a phone call from somebody I least expect, and they're always interested in Bluff City, and said, "Man, there's some great things been going on in y'all's town."
We sure tried.
So that's a good thing.
So, okay. Any more questions about that? Local government hardware and software, Sharon's plugging right along with F&A department, and we kind of got everything on hold right now as we get through budget. And then Sharon and team are going to fire back up after we get through budget and start working on the software upgrades. So everything is satisfactory so far. Just FYI, and Ben will be there. We'll go back. We lost our planner, our FTDD planner, to Ambro, left the organization. So we're in between community planners right now for our Planning and Zoning Commission. We should have a new one soon. So we pushed off the Planning and Zoning meeting to June. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's nothing to it. Guess what? Phase 3 is done.
Oh, is it done?
Done.
Good.
The pump station at the garage has been operational for a few days, and it's working great. The booster pumps left, Sharon, May 15th? We sent them back May 15th, didn't we?
23rd.
That Monday.
22nd, wasn't it?
I thought it was 15th. Yeah, because remember the invoice, we were invoiced through the 14th, and then we sent them back on the 15th.
Yeah, and they charged us for
Yeah.
another day.
And then that one invoice ran through the 23rd. But anyway, them old
Yeah.
pumps are gone. We don't need them.
Good.
And that it is running like a sewing machine. It's doing
good.
good. So that project is complete. TDOT grant status, as y'all know, we're working through planning and design the water treatment plant TDOT grant. And it's, like I say, it's in planning and design right now, more to follow. And then I always brief the TDOT multimodal grant. It's also in planning and design. So that's it. No motion there. Watson RMS is working great. It is. Caleb's shaking his head up and down. It's working great. It's making us a whole lot more efficient. Level of accuracy is a whole lot better. Traffic stop time is less than half of what it was. Officers love it. And there were bumps in the road. I mean, we had a little difficulty in the program talking to Citrus, and we got through that. It's just any implementation you're going to have. So that's doing real well. It was a good investment of the town to do Town hall repairs and renovation, again, we'll talk about that in budget time. Talked about multimodal, equipment surplus, we currently have none to surplus. Food truck park, we're going to revisit it at the June 2023 plan and zoning. We'll get back into that. We need a planner to help us. No movement on the senior center. I told y'all about the storage building cost savings opportunity we found. So we'll continue to look for other opportunities every day. We'll look for another opportunity. We still have one police officer full-time position open. We're kind of sitting on our hands till budget time on that one. We need to get somebody, but we just don't want anybody.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
You guys reach out.
Yeah, it's advertised, and it's advertised at Post. But Caleb will agree. We want somebody, but we just don't want anybody.
Exactly.
That's right.
Right.
I agree with you
And,
right there.
The blue team is doing fabulous, man. Fabulous. And also, Agent Kevin Smith, that's from here, on Regional Drug Task Force, is I'm not at liberty to say exactly what he's doing, but I'll just say he's out there finding drugs and getting them off the street.
That's great.
From Knoxville to here, he's everywhere.
Ooh,
He's
that's
wearing it out. Patriot Trail, I hosted a meeting a few days ago with the National Park Service and the OVTA to talk about the 1, 5, and 10-year plan of the Patriot Trail, well, the whole Over Mountain Victory Trail, all 300 miles of it. We had my good friend Jeff Ellison, who's Director of Trails from the National Park Service, actually was here with the OVTA guys. We're here and had a really good meet. Really, the National Park Service is really interested in our piece of the trail. Right. And, that would run from a swinging bridge up to Sultan East High and Middle School. So more to follow on those meetings. Chipper and truck, we did purchase a 2013 Chevrolet C2500 truck. You have already approved that money in the budget. We had $40,000 to use. We purchased the truck out the door for $21,000. This truck is a low mileage fleet truck. It's automatic, 4-wheel drive. It also has the service boxes already on it. It's not a flatbed truck. It's got the boxes on it, and it's already in service. We are moving some of that budgeted money because I discovered that some of the equipment that this board has purchased, we purchased a dump truck a couple of years ago. Y'all remember that for $100,000. We purchased a mini excavator. Remember that?
Remember.
We have a skid steer loader, Bobcat. And we also have a sewer pump truck. Y'all remember when we bought that,
Right.
None of those pieces of equipment have been serviced since we bought them. So we have shifted a little funding out of that to do up-to-grade services on all this equipment because we cannot afford for Public Works to go out there and turn the key on something and not run. And that's going on now. TDOT projects. So we're still working, and I'm talking to the engineer from Knoxville on the signal project out here at 390 and 19E and putting in a directional signal. Because as y'all know, when you go out here to 19, it's either green, red, or yellow. There's no directional signal, and that's a safety hazard.
Right.
So I got a hold of my contact at TDOT, and we've got engineers working on to see how we could add directional signals to that lane and make it safer, cut down on accidents. TDOT contacted me a couple of days ago, and they're coming up and working with Alan and I on a traffic light study of all of our traffic lights, just to make sure they're up to date and they're working properly. And it's at no cost to the city. TDOT will take care of every bit of it. And then I set the Johnson City MPO board, the transportation board, as our representative. And this is just FYI, that intersection out at Allison Road and 11 near Food City is dangerous. Dangerous.
Yeah.
But with a lot of us getting together and getting my friend Congresswoman Harshbarger and a bunch of people involved, that project has moved up from 41st in priority to 4th in the state. So hopefully we'll see some action out there pretty soon to fix that. And then the dog park, I talked to y'all about the dog park. I'm still working on it. What we'd like to do is have our engineering firm survey that land first to just make sure exactly what we own, because where we own there, it looks kind of like a half moon down there where the swinging bridge head is. But it's also borders private land,
Yep.
and it borders railroad land at the same time. So before we get started on anything, we need some markers in the ground to be able to tell what we really own. So I'll give you more on that as it progresses. So with that, that concludes my brief. What are your questions, comments, anything to add?
I was going to ask you, have you got a date for the kids that play the police basketball? The autistic
I do
kids?
not. Greg owes
that would be
me
good.
that.
Uh-huh.
I'll write that down right
Can we
now.
do it like in June?
We'll see why
Next
not.
month.
That's next month. And Jeff, I thought maybe you could be the coach
I don't
of the
care.
autistic kids
I'll
and
be
our
glad to.
Children with disabilities.
disability. Yeah,
Chief,
that would be great. And they will play against the police.
basketball.
Make sure each and every policeman play.
Especially that one right there.
Yes.
Now, and you don't mind if we mix a little bit of public works in there, do you?
Oh,
They can play.
Hey, we're not going to discriminate.
Yes,
Yeah,
that would be
anyway.
great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I tell you, Alan's an athlete.
Oh,
Is it?
Alan. Well, here's the story. Do y'all know Alan's story at all? Alan grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina. He got picked up as a baseball player for Clemson out of high school.
Clamp.
And he played at Clemson for 2 years. Well, he tore both his ACLs.
Ooh.
Well, he he left there. He lost his scholarship because of medical. And he got picked up at Mars Hill College in North Carolina. So he moved to North Carolina. And he played ball for them. And then he, unfortunately, he had a young, he got married, and he had a young.
that's the way it goes.
He just couldn't afford to pay his private school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he left and he went to work. So Alan is an athlete. I'm going to tell you. He can play, and he plays traveling football and baseball
Whoa.
himself. He still plays. And
I don't know if we want somebody to get against the kids.
Yeah, he's quite an
Let me on their
athlete.
team.
Well, Alan can be on their team.
Yeah, but anyway,
Yeah.
as long as we play, we don't.
Yeah.
Let the children
Well,
have fun.
my son, he can play some basketball.
I just took that note. I'll talk to Greg in the morning.
Okay.
And also, I spoke with Mr. Emery down here at the rescue fire department.
Oh, yeah.
And he's wanting to give us a tour, and I said I would bring it up before the board if anybody wants to go.
Yeah.
I plan on going.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brian Embry.
I guess that's his
Yeah,
first
that's
name.
his name.
And he just wanted to kind of show us all around, and I was
He
hoping
mentioned
the whole
that.
board could be included.
Yeah.
If they wanted to go.
That'd be great.
Sounds
Brian's
good.
been up here, and Alan and I helped him with a parking lot he's wanting to do back
Yeah,
there in the back.
yeah.
And we went there and marked the line.
Okay.
Just
I would
everything
love
straight
to.
on.
I would love it too.
Getting everything straight on?
Yeah. Basically, he adjusted his plan because there's a direct force main that comes right behind through there, man. And his original parking lot plan would have went over our direct
fine with
force
me.
main, which we can't do.
Right.
And he was good enough to pull back 15 feet
Yeah, my
on
son,
each
he's
one of the
good.
sides.
Up there.
So everything he's got
He-
planned
he-
now
he-
doesn't
he-
interfere with us at all. No, it's fine, man. It's fine.
Great.
So Al and I went down there and we got it all worked out. Everything was good.
Well, I will get in touch with him and set up a day or something and let everybody know.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And let's see, anything. I can't think of anything else I haven't briefed y'all on. That's pretty much what I have.
Okay.
Unless you have more for me. Okay, now, when can y'all come to a special called meeting? Our next meeting is June 6th. But these resolutions, we need to get on them quick. Because like the budget appropriation, until we pass it, Sharon can't officially do her stuff with the comptroller.
Any
Right.
day's good for me.
Or is there a day this week you can do it?
Yeah, any day.
What is your availability this week?
I can't.
Is there a day
Sure,
you cannot
for
do
me.
it this week?
Not
Okay,
for
Carol.
me.